Da 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 da. Huh. Da 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 da. Huh. Da 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 da. Right? Da 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 da. Isn't that how the beat goes? War. Huh. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing, y'all. Greetings and grace. Hey, I pray you are well today. Yeah, I put a little, just I just took some mascara, just like kind of smeared it. We are talking about war and peace today. Welcome to the Times, y'all. We have made it to the end of the Times series. We are reading in the book of Ecclesiastes. So we're gonna get on into it. I pray you're well, pray you're excited. Let's get on into it. You already know. All right, let's get on into it, y'all. Okay. A time for everything. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in his time. He has made everything beautiful in his time. He has made everything beautiful in his time. He has also set eternity to the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing could be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear him. Whatever is has already been, and what will be has been before, and God will call the past to account. And I saw something else under the sun. In the place of judgment, wickedness was there. In the place of justice, wickedness was there. I said to myself, God will bring into judgment both the righteous and the wicked, for there will be a time for every activity, a time to judge every deed. And we're going to read the whole thing, the rest of it. I also said to myself, as for humans, God tests them so that they may see that they are like the animals. Surely the fate of human beings is like that of the animals, the same. The same fate awaits them both. As one dies, so dies the other. As all have the same breath, humans have no advantage over animals. Everything is meaningless. All go to the same place. All come from dust, and to dust all return. Who knows if the human spirit rises upward and if the spirit of the animal goes down into the earth? So I saw that there is nothing better for a person than to enjoy their work, because that is their lot. For who can bring them to see what will happen after them? All right, y'all. We are talking about war and peace. Man, okay. So there's a lot that is just like I'm excited to talk about, because you know what? This is life, and we are actually experiencing war and peace. But you already know we are heading to thefreedictionary.com. That way you guys can see the definitions. We're going to get into the origins of each of these definitions, and then we're going to get into it. All right. So war, a state of open, armed, often prolonged conflict carried between two nations, states, or parties. The period of such conflict, the techniques and procedures of war, military science, a condition of active antagonism or contention, a concerted effort or campaign to combat or put an end to something considered injurious, to wage or carry on warfare, to be in a state of hostility or rivalry, contend, in an active state of conflict or contention. All right, and now we're going to go to peace. Peace, quiet, calm, rapport, concord, truce, lack of hostility, the direct opposite, you guys. And we're going to scroll down because it's talking about the other one. The absence of war or other hostilities, an agreement or a treaty to end hostilities, freedom from quarrels and disagreement, harmonious relations, public security and order. In inner contentment, serenity, used as a greeting, a farewell, or a request for silence, in a state of tranquility. Oh, and equanimity, you guys, that's a really good word. I know it's not here, but that's a word as well. Serene, free from strife, to be silent, to maintain or observe law and order, used to express goodbye. I'm going to look up, I think it's called equanimity. I want you guys to definitely check that one out, because that's a good one. But we'll keep it moving, because you know what? We are in a war. When we look at the state of our world, and we see just how much turmoil actually exists here in the world. There is, it's war. It's warfare. It's spiritual, it's mental, it's physical, it's emotional, it's financial. I mean, it's every type of war that there could be that's happening. Those conflicts are happening. There's a level of hostility that's out here that's trying to push out the good people, and I want to encourage you that if you have a pure heart, and you know what I'm saying, you own up to your mistakes, you're out here working on evolving and becoming the best version of yourself. I want to encourage you to not just stand idly by. You know what I'm saying? There is a war happening, and it's happening all over in all different forms. And to be honest with you, the best thing that you can do is first, yes, gain the inner peace that you need, right? The serenity, that inner tranquility, inner contentment, you know what I'm saying? Your peace of mind and everything like that. But you have to fight to become the best version of yourself. And you have to fight things that come against you that are hindrances to where God has called you to be. And it sounds simple. I know I'm saying it like it sounds simple, but it isn't always as simple. You have to do things like eliminate distractions. You have to do things like look at yourself, right? And ask yourself what actions that you're taking on the daily are actually hindrances, right? Because you can have a goal, right? So if you have a goal, here's a really good one. This is something that we can all relate to, or the majority of us, enough of us can relate to, even if it's not ourselves or we know somebody who can relate to it, right? We can't say we have a goal of, say we're 200 pounds, right? We can't say we have a goal of reaching 150 if we're always going to each and every single day eat a Big Mac, eat a whole entire meal. That's not gonna happen. Matter of fact, right? You eating the Big Mac, you drinking all the candied sugars and eating candy and everything like that. Not a lick of vegetable other than a piece of lettuce and or the fruit. You know what I'm saying? A pickle. Maybe you got some tomato on there, but when it's 80-20 and your goal and your desire is to like reach 150, you know what I'm saying? You have a goal, but the food, you're warring against your own goal and you're hindering yourself. So that's like an internal war that you definitely want to address, right? And so what that comes down to is how do you achieve the peace when it comes to that goal that you have, that physical goal, that physical warfare? You got to find replacements. You got to find things that especially if that's, you're transitioning that way and you want to find replacements, okay? You don't want the Big Mac. What other ways can you make a burger, right? A vegan burger, a type of burger that will actually help you lose weight. You know what I'm saying? There's Dr. CB burgers. I mean, like I've done a cabbage burger. Like I've taken a piece of cabbage, I sliced that joint up. I've done it on the oven and I've also done it on a skillet. And let me tell you, it was tasty, And I could like to experiment in the kitchen and everything like that. But the reality is, right? If you look up the health benefits of cabbage and then you look up the health benefits of a Big Mac, I can promise you the cabbage will outweigh the Big Mac. I can promise you vegetables, fruits and vegetables will always outweigh the Big Mac. And so if you're going at minimum just 80% of what you got to do to fight on behalf of your goals, you will eliminate a lot of the warfare that's keeping you from achieving that, and you will achieve more peace, right? And so you guys got to understand, yes, sometimes that also, like, if we're talking about, I mean, if we're talking about life, right? Sometimes, if you're in traffic and someone's I'll give you an example, okay? When I was in Houston, Texas, I remember, and so by the way, you guys, traffic down there is wild. 1 mile or 5 miles could take as long as like 20 minutes. And that's because of traffic. I swear their miles are longer than a regular mile. I don't know. But they'll have 6 lanes, you know what I'm saying? Just driving down a regular main street. And I mean, those lanes are extremely long, y'all, right? So the roads are really long. I'm driving. First thing, it's early. Nobody else is out there. I'm driving, right? This chick is going to pull out. She straight pulls out in front of me. Now, I literally had to move the vehicle into another lane just to avoid hitting her, right? And I was very upset. And so I laid on the horn, and because I used to have this thing where I would lay on the horn so everybody knew who did it. But I stopped doing that, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, this chick is something else. And so I had sped up right? And I'm looking at her and I'm like, literally that I literally did that. I didn't say I didn't say any actual like coherent words. I didn't say anything that was an actual word. I was literally miming that I was upset because I was, right? And so she decides to speed up to catch up to me, and she she's sticking her finger out her window and she's got an attitude with me, and I know she's saying a whole bunch of stuff, and I just started laughing. I looked at her and I started laughing so hard, right? Then she was like, she looked like, dang, I feel stupid right now. Right. And I thought it was the funniest thing ever. But, right, the mature thing to have done that I should have done at that moment in time, just let it go. Because it was rude what she did. She didn't have to do it. There was all of this space. There were two other whole lanes she could have choose. She could have chosen. But she decided to hop in front of me. I'm like, God, that's mad disrespectful. And I was really upset about it, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna allow myself to get super duper upset, but I'm gonna go a lighthearted way. And I could have avoided that warfare just by letting it go. Now, there are different times where you could pick and choose when you do need to fight back. I'm not saying don't fight back all the time. I'm saying picking and choosing, especially when it comes to online. A lot of times there are these people are crazy, y'all. People will literally spend hours trying to go back and forth with you online. Look, if you have a purpose, you don't have time for it. Let it go. Let it go, because you know what? There are things that you got to do because other people are counting on you. So forget what everybody else says. People are always gonna come. There's gonna be haters. There's gonna be people that are gonna try to talk stuff. You know what I'm saying? If you got the time for it to have fun with it every once in a while, I get it. But when you think about it, like I was sharing with you guys a couple of days ago, it happened. It happened to me. Happened to me like 3 times in this past week. Like three different conversations. People really trying to have these conversations with me. And this one guy tried to, confront me, and I'm like, I answered the question and I left it at that, right? And I was like, I stand by what I said, and I said what I had to say, and I left it at that. He wrote a dissertation. He wrote a whole bunch of other comments. Honestly, I didn't even go back and look at those joints. And I didn't even know that he had written a dissertation until someone else had replied. And I read what they wrote, and I loved it. And I think I may have replied back to them, but he had like messaged me, like replied, to what it was that I said. And then I happened to see that his last message was, you know what? I actually see what it is that you wrote. I went back and I reread it, and I see that you are in fact a leader. And I was like, cool. I didn't say anything. I didn't even I was just like, yeah, reading is fundamental. You know what I'm saying? You can't come hot and ready, what I'm saying, trying to disturb somebody or trying to start a fight, because there are people who will literally do that. It's like they live for that stuff. They live to debate. And most of the time that's a projection. People would rather fight with a stranger online than deal with the things that they need to deal with within and deal within their own homes. That's the reality of the situation. So you gotta understand, a lot of times people that pick fights with other people is because they are fighting a whole bunch of things on the inside of themselves, and they really need to work on themselves. So, there's nothing wrong with also saying God bless. You could reply once and then, make it an ending, like an end to the conversation, and be like, God bless. Let me tell y'all, it's peaceful, it's beautiful. I have found like this level in my life where it's like I could care less. Like, if the conversation isn't one of substance, if it's not an iron sharpening iron, because I am humble enough to, and I'm humble enough to be like, look, I want to learn. I am teachable. You know what I'm saying? But if you're coming at me and there's no substance in it, and principally or fundamentally it's just off, why even bother? There's no point. There's so much other stuff that I could do. And I mean, and there's so much better stuff that I could do. And sometimes that better stuff is like, you know what? I'd rather just chill in silence. I'd rather, you know what I'm saying, have a conversation with other people. And that's okay too. And let me tell you guys, people will sit there, they'll go back and forth all daggone day. And I used to go back and forth all day with them. Well, let me tell you something. It's so peaceful. It's so peaceful knowing that, you can, if you choose to, right? Some people, you do want to do stuff like that. I get it, because I used to have this goal that I did have back in the day, where I actually I wanted to talk back. I want to clap back. I know Gary Vee has done some stuff like that, and I think it's hilarious. And I know other people have done some stuff like that as well. I will, be entertained by things like that, seeing other people clap back. But for me, is where I am right now in my life, I'm okay without it. Sometimes I will, every once in a while, but sometimes, like, you can pick your choosing battles. You can pick and choose your battles, like, seriously. And so when you start to think about that, there's like I'm just saying, I have found peace with it. I just feel like, nah. I see there's replies. Half the time I don't even bother reading them anymore. Because if I see and discern that the conversation isn't going to be, what I'm saying, one of substance or something worthy of my time, like, whatever. you know? And so I just want to encourage you guys to start looking at life as a whole that way. You know what I'm saying? Because, you can leverage that and really thinking about what you do and how you spend your time. And I don't know about you, but peace is so beautiful. Peace is so beautiful. And when we really start to think about it, and we think about the wars and the warfare that is out here in the world, and the fact that we can do something about it, that right there, man, we could spend our time, fighting the real battles that can help change things effectively for the future generation, y'all. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that I did struggle with for a very long time, but I understand it, and I understood it in late 2021. I was like, dang, man, it's a scary place to try to bring children into this world. It really is. But we need to, you know what I'm saying? There's many of us who, in fact, need to do so because of how we would raise our children, of what it is that, we're trying to do when it comes to changing the world. Because one of them, somebody's got to be able to, you got to be able to pass the baton to somebody, and might as well be your own seed, one of them. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're out here and you're working to build your legacy, I want to encourage you, say, keep nurturing your kids. You're raising them right. You know what I'm saying? Keep nurturing them, keep loving on them, keep raising up leaders, because we have to do that. Like, that, it's not like, just forget about it, somebody else would do it. Like, sometimes that somebody else is you, and that somebody else is in your lineage, the lineage that you're changing, the lineage that you are upbringing, right? So when you start to think about it like that, it's much more serious. This is a lot. It's a lifetime type of situation, because when you start to think about that, and when we look at the fact that in Mississippi, they're trying to pass, or they may have already successfully passed, the Jim Crow back in, what I'm saying, in Mississippi. I mean, that's like a direct slap in the face. The fact that, reparations, we're still battling this when every other ethnicity is literally getting payments. That is crazy. And I'm saying that as Black people, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's got to be some pressure applied, and the right type of pressure. And that requires making sure that you get the right information, you get the right education, and you apply it, and you connect with the right people, and you educate others, and you encourage healthy solutions, because there is a war going on. And I don't know about you, but I want to be on the side of the side that's where, excuse me, the side where people are doing what's right. Where people are doing what's right for them, for their families, and something that will benefit humanity as a whole. When you do what's right fundamentally, that's where it's at. And man, I could talk about that all day, but I just want to encourage you guys to start thinking about your life and how you live it and what you do, right? As warfare. And think of it, okay, you get up every day, you make one step at a time, and you're fighting the good fight. So be encouraged with that, and you are intentionally attaining peace each and every single day. It's all in the Bible. It's all in the Bible. There's so many scriptures on peace. You guys can definitely check it out. I'm posting, scriptures on peace often. I'm posting scriptures on, what I'm saying, on joy. And I have found myself just, loving God even more during this pandemic, and, what I'm saying, especially this year, just like putting more and more time into growing and developing and then connecting with people who push me and challenge me into getting into scripture more. That's everything. So I want to encourage you guys to connect with those type of people that will actually push you to learn more and to get into the word, exercise your faith and make sure that you're out here doing the very best that you can. And even if that's, whatever percentage at that you are, the capacity that you can for that day, do the best you can for that day and keep it moving. So be encouraged. Hey, I pray that you enjoyed today's message. And, I pray that you and your loved ones experience peace and that when it is time to war, you have the right people around you. They are there for you through thick and thin, the good, the bad, and ugly. And you guys fight the good fight for the things that are fundamentally right overall. And you guys achieve peace and you guys fight the right battles because that's what we need. That's what we need to have an effective, healthy change within our systems, within everything, y'all. Within everything. There's no reason why we should be in 2023 and a lot of the things that we are struggling with today are just fundamentally off, fundamentally wrong. And they come from a place of greed and, things created from a place of greed, people hurt from a place of greed or resources and the things that people do to hurt other people. You know, One of the things I love about Emmanuel Jesus the Christ is that he never killed anybody and he didn't condemn anybody. And yet we see this stuff happening on a regular basis. That has to change. Do not say that, saying you love God, but you hate people. And don't say that you love God, but you are intentionally hurting other people. That's not love. Love doesn't do that. Love is 1 Corinthians chapter 13. I mean, down to the point where everything that you say, if it's not spoken with love, it's not, there was no point. It was worthless. So be encouraged to literally do love, be love. Like how I slide that in there, how I slid that in there, y'all. Man, God bless. Stay safe. I pray y'all experience peace and you exude it. And man, that's all I gotta say. And I'm grateful, man. I'm just thankful. God is so good. And I'm growing and I'm excited to see, where God is calling me and how God is leading me because you know what? I may have, I may have stopped some things, I may have stopped like, the level or the pace that I was going at. And I may have done that because I did do that, but I just want to let you know that going the route in a different pace and the pace with God has been much more fulfilling. And to me, that right there, that's everything. You know what I'm saying? Because if God ain't in it, I don't want it. I'm just being honest with you, man. Because I'd have tried my way, I'd have tried everybody else's way. But let me tell you something. When God is in it, it's simply more and so much more fulfilling. And to me, that's peace right there. So God bless. Stay safe.